Right. So we're now at pick 11 overall. The Cleveland Browns are on the clock. At Saxonville Psycho is the GM. The Browns went with Saquon Barkley first overall, gentlemen. What are we thinking here? They definitely went against the grain, went against conventional wisdom in terms of selecting a running back early, first overall, frankly. But a lot of people felt Saquon was the best player in this entire class. In fact, before we actually get to the podium here, Headley, give me your thoughts about Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, man, I think, I call him the next guy, the Barry. I threw it out there, man. Barry-like.
Barry who? Barry Church?
Those certain players, you just got to say their first name.
Yeah, people supposed to know. Huh?
They got to know.
You got a young crowd out there who never saw
it. Okay. Barry Sanders. He was running back for the Detroit Lions. Do your Googles. YouTube him, man. He's not as explosive as Barry per se. Doesn't have the quickness as Barry. Barry was a very quick player, but it just reminds me of the package he has. A player now is LaShawn McCoy, cut on a dime. This guy the things he does with his lower half of his body, Saquon Barkley, is incredible. It's remarkable.
That's supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm like, how does he not break his kneecap, tear an ACL, do something? But he has that balance. He has the explosiveness. He makes guys miss in the backfield, and he has home run speed on top of that. So I think he's probably one of the cleanest prospects in this entire draft.
He's soft though.
That's what they call. That's what they say.
He's soft though.
That's what they say. Well, why run through somebody when you could run around?
All right. Well, the pick is in, and with the 11th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns have selected quarterback Josh Allen out of Wyoming. Drew, I want to go straight to you here. The Browns get their quarterback. They had their pick of the litter at number 1 overall. Didn't select a guy. Apparently, they felt comfortable with Josh Allen. His tape's a little uneven. But what are your thoughts on that selection?
I mean, I know I killed them with that first pick when they went Saquon. Obviously they have a Tyrod on the roster. He's the bridge guy or whatever. But I killed them with the first pick. But they got their running back. Or a running back with the 4 or 5 they got on roster, and now they got their quarterback in Josh Allen, man. I just wonder, will he start right away, man? Like you said, he's got a couple of things going on, but listen, it's all about the measurables. That's what everybody's been talking about. That's the big thing with Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Rosen's gone, Sam Darnold's gone. He's what's left, right? Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson.
That's there, man. I said it about Josh Allen, man. He's the best quarterback in this draft in t-shirt and shorts.
I just going way out there. Okay.
In t-shirt and shorts, without pads, without a pass rush. Yeah, he looks the part, man. He's big, he's physical, he can throw 80 yards, and that's what teams fall in love with. We see it every season. Everyone falls in love with the measurables, the athleticism. They fall in love with these things instead of watching the tape. And what was he under? 60% completion percentage. He's inaccurate at times. I seen him in the Senior Bowl, just missing guys. Missing guys in practice. It was just he doesn't have the requisite touch on the football. He doesn't make those plays. So
he's got a fastball. He has a fastball.
Yeah,
he needs a changeup.
He's a changeup, man. So. I don't think he'll start right away. I think Tyrod Taylor probably starts for these guys, and Josh Allen comes in midway through the season.
One of the big things with Josh Allen was that he didn't have the talent where he was coming from. There's a lot of drop passes, and just didn't have the talent. Guys couldn't get open. He's throwing in tighter windows than there should be.
Sure.
But listen, there's not going to be an excuse with this team that he has with David Njoku, Saquon Barkley, Duke Johnson. Jarvis Landry. I mean, it's a number of guys. Corey Coleman. I mean, I'm running out of names here. It's a lot. There should be no excuse here. He might you might be able to throw Hugh out there. Hugh is unfit. # Hugh is unfit. That may be a problem, but I guess we'll soon find out.
Okay. Well, I mean, all things considered, there are obviously questions about Josh Allen. You can't deny the physical traits. You use the air quotes in terms of the drop passes. That's a bit of a misnomer. In fact, if you look at the statistics, the drop rate from the Wyoming receivers wasn't very high at all. In fact, it was the lowest among the quarterbacks that we expect to go in the first round. But who knows? You know what I mean? This is an inexact science. He might be the guy. I thought during the Senior Bowl we were on location. I thought during the game he acquitted himself rather well. But that's limited. It's limited. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of preparation going on, film study. You know what I mean? There's plenty of blitzing, but it's just it's not the best of barometers. To Headley's point, you know, he's really done a good job throughout the off-season process and put himself in a position to be selected among the top 11 picks. So Josh Allen is off the board. Cleveland has their quarterback of the future. The Buffalo Bills are now on the clock. And gentlemen, you know, the Buffalo Bills, they had a couple picks in the first round, still do. They moved up in a trade with Cincinnati, gave up Cordy Glenn, their left tackle. I'm not sure there's a better left tackle in this class than Cordy Glenn. So it seems obvious, particularly with the fact that they moved on from Tyrod Taylor, that they're looking for a quarterback here. We anticipated that they would move up into the top 5 or 6, maybe trade down, trade back, or trade up with the Colts. That didn't happen. So what's the pick here, Headley?
I'm looking. You said it. You said quarterback. I think they desperately need a quarterback. They traded Tyrod Taylor. So to me, the best quarterback on my board left is Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield or it's Lamar Jackson. It's one of the two guys or the two top quarterbacks in the draft. We'll see. They had a quarterback, I guess, similar to Lamar Jackson and Tyrod Taylor. More of a run first, try to get outside the tackle box type quarterback. So maybe they zig or zag into a different direction into a Baker Mayfield.
Maybe they replace Cordy Glenn. Maybe they go Orlando Brown. That's my number one offensive tackle on the board. Maybe they go that route.
You're not concerned about the performance at the combine for Orlando Brown?
Not at all. Not at all. Combine and pro days mean nothing to me. It's just a check off the box. Let me get you in the room. Let me have a conversation with you. Let me look at the tape. Because at the end of the day, it's about the tape.
I tend to agree with that notion, but as you mentioned, in terms of the combine, you use it to confirm certain things. With the lack of reps during the bench press, we didn't expect Orlando Brown to run well. I think everybody's aware of that, but certainly, despite the fact that he has such long arms, 14 reps was a little bit alarming. When you go back and you take a look at the tape, are you concerned about his functional strength?
No, not at all.
Non-starter for you.
Just listen. Make sure you have two hands on the guy that you block. I had a little bit of an issue with him. At times would use one hand and he would get beat. Make sure two hands is on the guy you blocking. You're not that good. You're not there yet. You're not Walter Jones.
Gotcha.
Jonathan Ogden. You're not any of those guys.
Orlando Pace.
Don't be cute. Don't be cute. Get the job done.
All right. Well, the pick is in, and it is a quarterback. The Buffalo Bills select Lamar Jackson out of Louisville. I'm going to go directly to you, Headley. You said that Baker Mayfield was the best quarterback on the board at this point. Yes. Instead, they go with Lamar Jackson. What do you think about the selection?
I'm not mad at it. Lamar Jackson is a rare talent in terms of what he does with his legs. He's a weapon on the football field. So, if you don't have the receivers on the outside, which Buffalo, they need more weapons on the outside, Lamar Jackson could be a one-man show out there. He's probably going to make Shady an even better running back because of the running lanes, and you have to be aware of Lamar Jackson booting outside. So I'm not mad at the pick. Baker Mayfield is sliding right now. He was considered a top 10 pick, especially he's at the quarterback position. So, we'll see if a team tries to trade up to get Baker Mayfield. I'm thinking teams are on the phone right now. But as far as Lamar Jackson, he's going to start right away over there, right? You guys think so?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
there's no question about that.
I mean, we saw who the backup is. We know who he is, and Nathan Peterman, where he threw 5 picks in one half. I don't want to see that again. Yeah. I don't want to see that again. It wasn't pretty. And I think they got their guy, man.
What do you think about Lamar Jackson and that transition? Yes, he was a primary ball carrier at Louisville. We know from recent history has told us, and certainly the history of the game has shown us that guys who rely heavily on their legs typically, they may be great for time, but they don't necessarily have the longest of careers. So what's your thoughts about him as a passer?
It's kind of hard. He's actually one of those guys who, to me, talent around him wasn't that good. Drop passes, were a problem. Yeah. And maybe he felt like, hey, I gotta be Action Jackson out here. And it's gonna be hard in Buffalo,
Siberia?
man. Siberia. I was gonna go there. It's gonna be hard there, man, because right now there are no weapons. So can I hold off till after the draft, till after they've consummated everything?
Sure.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson. It's going to be, in terms of a passer, it's some technique. his base. You know, sometimes his legs are a little too close together, and he tends to overthrow some passes. But I would say he's drastically improved from his sophomore year to his junior year. So, you know, if he continues that progression, then, you know, he could be a passer in this league. And that's what it's going to take, man. We've seen it with all these quarterbacks in the league. You have to beat teams from within the pocket.
I agree. So that begs the question. There's a couple of names that I'll throw out there. You know, obviously body type isn't the same, but really was heavily relied upon in terms of running the football. And I'm not sure that Lamar Jackson just dropped back and then his first read wasn't open and he pulled it down and took off. I think the offense, Bobby Petrino, they just realized, okay, we have such an incredible ball carrier at the quarterback position. We're going to use him that way. And that's how college football is. It's not about preparing you for the NFL necessarily. But I think he's actually ahead of the game in terms of a comparable guy like a Michael Vick. I actually think he's a more polished passer than Vick was. You know what I mean? Maybe the arm strength isn't quite the same as Vick, but certainly in terms of accuracy and understanding of defenses, I actually think he's ahead of the curve there. The guy I want to get your thoughts on is Cam Newton. Where do you think he falls in that pantheon? Cam Newton, obviously, a very different body type here, but in terms of being a passer, how do you think those two compare?
I got Cam Newton ahead of Lamar Jackson as a passer coming out of college. In Auburn, Cam Newton threw the ball a lot. You know, he passed the ball, and, you know, he was effective. So, as a passer, I got Cam over Lamar Jackson in that comparison.
I don't know if I can do that because of the type of passes we're talking about with Cam Newton. I mean, people were wide open because the way they ran the football. You know, Lamar Jackson, I'm not sure that's the case. You know, the ones I've seen, a lot of those were tight windows, man. He's putting it there. So I got to put Lamar Jackson ahead of Cam Newton. As a passer.
That takes us to the 13th pick in the first round, and the Washington Redskins are on the clock. Drew, I'm going to start with you. This team has decided to move on from Kirk Cousins. They never decided to marry the guy. He is now in Minnesota, a very wealthy man in Minnesota. They bring in Alex Smith. Kendall Fuller is out. Josh Norman is still in place, but Rashad Breeland is no longer there. There's a couple corners on the board here. They struggled to protect the quarterback last season. I think that had to do with injuries more so than personnel. So what does Washington do here? What do they need to do to get back into competing with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East?
My mindset here, man, go best defensive back on the board, whether that's safety or whether that's corner. You know, you can go with Jari Alexander. You know, he's the number one corner for me. Is he the number one corner for you?
Definitely.
Instincts, man. You can go on Mike Hughes, who for me he's a well-rounded player, man. Got a couple of red flags, but he's an intense player. Or you could go, you know, at this point, the top safety on the board, which is Minkah Fitzpatrick, man. But what is he? Is he a corner? Is he a safety? Is he a nickel? What is he? He's a guy who I guess you can put anywhere on the field. I would rather him, you know, be the rangy type, but he can come in the box, he can come off the edge, blitz. And you know, some pundits out there think he can play corner. Maybe that's where, you know, what Washington can do with him, man, opposite Josh Norman. You know, but you know, those are a couple of options, man. Where they can go.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick would be an excellent pick here. Also, Jair Alexander, get a guy opposite Josh Norman. But if they want to go offense, running back is their biggest need.
Absolutely.
So
Matt Jones.
Yeah, that's Rob Kelly. You know, they got Chris Thompson, but, you know, they don't want to give him, you know, 250, 300 carries a season. So
no commitment to Samaje Perine. That compliment seemed to be a pretty decent group on the surface.
From what I remember last season, I don't know if he didn't understand the offense, wasn't getting it.
I think it was trust. The Grubens tend to have a more complicated offense that they run, a lot of different terminology. Again, coming from the Big 12, you're looking to the sideline usually for the signals. It's a little bit different. So they didn't trust him immediately, but certainly, and Chris Thompson was playing so well, it was hard to take him off the field.
He's a big piece.
But Perine had some decent production towards the end of the season. I don't necessarily disagree with the likelihood of a running back here, but who is that running back? Who would the guy be?
I mean, number one's off the board, right? Saquon. So Derek's guys, man. It's LSU. I mean, it's that guy, man. I mean, he's going to bring a different kind of mindset to that team, man. Yeah. You know, he's linebacker mentality playing running back, man. Sledgehammer, man. With speed, with burst, with explosion, with vision.
Yeah, he compliments Chris Thompson a lot.
Yeah.
You know, that thunder and lightning. So
yeah, a lot of teams like that, man. They like to have that power guy and that speed guy, man. And you know, you can do different things. You set up different things. It's, you know, it makes things a little bit easier for the offense.
All right. Well, the pick is in. And it is Darius Geis, the running back out of LSU. And I'm going to go straight to you. What is it that you like about Geis? But also, why is it that you have Ronald Jones higher on your board than Geis?
Man, Geis, what I like about him, he's a physical runner. He goes 110% every single play, man. You know what you're going to get from him. The setbacks or the opportunities he could work on at the next level, I think his vision. Dissecting the hole, hitting the right hole, I think it's a little bit lacking. But these are just kind of the same concerns I had with Leonard Fournette last season. So, you know, we've seen Leonard Fournette had some success in Jacksonville. So, you know, I don't doubt that Darius Geis will have success. You know, but I also worry about the injury concern with him. You know, he came out 2016 balls, you know, in replacement of Leonard Fournette. You know, when it was his team in 2017, he dealt with some injuries. You know, so we're going to see if a 225?
Yeah, just more.
Okay, about 220. We're going to see if a 220-pound running back can run physical like that, play after play after play, and we'll see about his health. That's my question mark with Darius Geis.
I mean, you said it earlier, though. They're pairing him now with Chris Thompson. So he's not going to have to do all the running by himself. He's going to be playing in front of a better offensive line as long as they stay healthy.
Sure.
Because we know at LSU, it wasn't good. Whether it would be the offensive line or in general, the offense was terrible. Just the way they ran the scheme, and that hasn't
no
changed.
passing game.
No passing game. I mean, that's. I don't know how you have that school and you just don't get a quarterback. You do everything right, but the quarterback position, and that's what it looks like. You know, and it hinders talented players like a Darius Geis, like a Leonard Fournette. You know, you want to talk about vision and not being able to find a hole. There was no hole at times because it's just number 5. Let's stop number 5. We're gonna be all right over here. You know, and so that's not gonna be the case in Washington, man. Jay Gruden, you know, he's got a mind and, you know, an offensive mind, and I feel like he'll get Darius Geis, you know, some opportunities.
All right. Expecting Jay Gruden to put him in a position to be successful.
Period. That's what happened.
All right. So we're at the 14th overall pick in the 2018 CPGM Interactive Mock Draft. Green Bay is on the clock. What are we thinking? What are we thinking here in terms of Green Bay?
I think it's a simple pass rushers or corners.
Period.
They need to get to the quarterback and they need to cover receivers. I think it's as simple as that for the Packers. So we're looking at the board. Minka Fitzpatrick, Jair Alexander, Mike Hughes, who's the pass rushers. Marcus Davenport's the pass rusher out there.
Arden Key.
I know he's a little risky guy.
Red flags there, but certainly has the talent.
One of those guys.
Actually, as a matter of fact, it seems like there's a trade for the 14th overall pick.
Okay.
Details coming in. It looks like the Cincinnati Bengals are trading up.
Baker Mayfield.
The Packers will receive the Bengals' 22nd pick, 77th overall pick in the 3rd round, and William Jackson.
That's a good corner.
That's a really good corner, really good young corner there.
That's a good move.
You mentioned you know, the defensive back being an issue. They could have selected him there, but they add some additional draft capital, and they grab a young corner in William Jackson. Quite the pick. What is Cincinnati going to do here? It has to be a quarterback, I would imagine.
It has to be Baker Mayfield. He's the guy left. He's been sliding down the draft board. Cincinnati, if you're going to trade up, more than likely you're trading up for a quarterback.
And you go a corner like William Jackson.
Definitely, you gave up a lot for this. So, I think Andy Dalton era might be over in Cincinnati.
Okay, all right. Well, that being said, they did acquire Cordy Glenn from the Buffalo Bills, so it's time to put a quarterback behind your new left tackle. And the pick is in, and it is, in fact, Baker Mayfield. Drew, what are your thoughts on Mayfield? A lot of people have Mayfield, you know, QB1. Then there's the other group that have him at QB5, and he seems to be all over the place.
I mean, you watch his tape, you know, and there's a lot of running around. There's a lot of sandlot football, but the one thing that he does do well is he puts the ball on the money. You know, there was another guy last year who did the same thing, and you know, he got a lot of love. his name is Patrick Mahomes, and he was traded up for, correct, last year? And here we go again with the same type of thing. Obviously, I think Baker Mayfield is the better player between those two players. And so,
why is that? Why is it that? Why do you prefer Mayfield over Mahomes?
Because everything Baker Mayfield did, it wasn't completely satisfying.
Sure.
There was some timely things. He hit people on time. And Patrick Mahomes, that wasn't the case. It was sandlot all day long.
Yeah, I thought that Mahomes had a lot of turnover-worthy throws. They didn't always capitalize, and you could point to.
They didn't happen.
They didn't happen. I guess it's easy to ignore that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the film, if the defensive backs in the Big 12, a la West Virginia, there were more teams like West Virginia. I don't think Mahomes actually goes in the first round. There's so many turnover-worthy throws coming out of him, whereas it's a relatively similar play style, but Mayfield didn't have nearly as many turnover-worthy throws.
No, not at all.
Headley, what is your assessment of Baker Mayfield? He was your number 3 quarterback.
Number 3 quarterback. I can start with the pros. He's a very accurate quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most accurate probably the most accurate quarterback in his class. So that's a pro, positive for Baker Mayfield. So he could get out of the pocket, allow some time for his receivers to get open.
Sure.
He has some athleticism to him. But Baker Mayfield, it's that offense in Oklahoma. I can't get past that. He's played in the Big 12. It's easy over there for Baker Mayfield, man. And his offense is a lot of smoke and mirrors offense. Huge windows to throw through.
Sure.
And on tape, I see him a lot, try to hit the home run on every play. He need to take those singles, those doubles, dump down to the receivers and the running backs out of the backfield. So
it's the Big 12, though.
It is the Big 12.
Big 12, but
it is
the
the Big
NFL
12.
is not the Big 12.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have my question marks. He's my number 3 quarterback, but I do have question marks on Baker Mayfield.
All right, moving right along at number 15. In fact, that was little man KCD. KCD 57 made a move and made sure he got his quarterback. Moving on to number 15 in the draft, the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock, and Carson Palmer has retired here. Looks like the quote-unquote Big 5 are now off the board in terms of quarterbacks. What are the Cardinals going to do here? And at Big Hero C, what is he going to do with this particular pick?
Yeah, I think Cincinnati was up to something. They traded in front of Arizona to get the quarterback. I think Arizona was probably going to get Baker Mayfield. So right now they might be in a little panic mode. They need a quarterback, but I wouldn't get any quarterback here. I wouldn't touch Mason Rudolph or Luke Falk or any of those guys. I think that would be a reach. Mm-hmm. They've been missing a corner opposite Marcus
Patrick Peterson.
Patrick Peterson. I'm about to call him Marcus Peter. They're missing a corner opposite Patrick Peterson.
Disrespecting that man. You disrespecting Pat Pete.
Like
you throwing dirt on the man, bro.
Pat Pete, the top 3 corner in the league.
Marcus Peters. Get out of here, man.
But they've been missing that corner opposite Pat Pete for
Definitely.
quite some time. They tried Justin Bethel. They tried William. They tried a lot of different guys. So we keep talking about it. Micah Fitzpatrick is still on board. Mm-hmm. He can play slot corner. Jair Alexander, if you want an outside corner. There's a lot of guys.
I like the idea of that pairing. Patrick Peterson, Alexander.
They don't have Tyrann Mathieu anymore.
Yeah,
so
true.
Yeah.
Well, not Buddha. They got Buddha.
Apparently Buddha made Matthew expendable, according to CPGM Juice.
Okay. So I'll probably address the secondary if I was the Arizona Cardinals.
All right, Drew, what are your thoughts?
Going in the trenches.
Yeah.
Offensive line. Who got hurt last year and didn't get to finish the season? Was it Carson Palmer?
Yeah.
And then Drew Stanton got hurt as well, right?
Uh-huh.
Playing on a PCL tear, MCL tear, ACL tear. He's playing on something he shouldn't have been playing on.
Sure.
And this has been a long time coming. I don't know the last time Arizona actually had a good offensive line. Obviously they lost David Johnson, which hurt.
You know who the quarterback is now?
Who?
Sam Bradford.
Wow. Yeah.
Mr. Glass.
Hey, offensive line.
Fragile.
Yes. Yeah, you probably need to address that too, man. You're right.
There it is, man. Orlando Brown, Will Hernandez, Billy Price. I mean, let's pull them all up. Take whoever's at the top of the board.
Take your pick of offensive line.
Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
They did acquire Justin Pugh and Andre Smith this free agency, but you're right.
Yeah.
They still need more offensive linemen.
Yeah. Well, the pick is in. And it's going to be Cortland Sutton, receiver out of Southern Methodist University.
Reach.
Big Hero C.
What are you doing, man? We got to have a conversation, man. You know where I'm at. Find me on the Twitter. I can't believe this pick was made, man. I'm disappointed, man. We gotta have a real discussion, but who do we have left on the board if you're going receiver? Let's just talk about the position itself.
DJ Moore, Anthony Miller,
Christian
Kirk.
I mean, this is the first receiver off the board.
Wow.
This is literally the first receiver off the board.
Calvin Ridley.
How do you pass all those guys up? I need an explanation. I need a conversation and an explanation for this pick. Cortland Sutton, to me, is a big guy, but he's what you call a guy who telegraphs his routes, man. Everything looks to me to be slow, and corners are gonna figure it out, man. You know, he's not shaking anybody with a route that he's running. In fact, he's telling you where he's going. I don't like the pick, man. I understand Larry Fitzgerald is on his last leg, not because, performance-wise, but because he's been in the league for a minute.
Sure.
You know, it's time to
Sure, you contemplate retirement.
You know, so and to be honest, if you're throwing it to Cortland Sutton, I mean, can you get it out there? Because who's blocking?
Legitimate question.
Good point, man. I guess this is the Larry Fitzgerald eventual replacement. Larry Fitzgerald's on his last legs. He's ageless, but he's on his last legs. Mm-hmm. And I guess Cortland Sutton, Big Hero C, thought that that would be a good decision. Mm-hmm. Cortland Sutton's not in my top 5. Yeah. I think he's might be one of the most overrated receivers in this class.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. To me, it's just he's a finesse guy. He lacks physicality.
Despite the big-bodiedness, and I mean, we're talking about Big Hero C here. So the big-body receiver, big-body receiver, the guy that you anticipate will box out defenders, win the 50-50 ball, but you're not seeing that from him.
Yeah, I just think he's kind of soft, man. And like you say, he telepasses route. He doesn't come in and out of his routes aggressively, or it's just not a hard cut. So it's like he's a smooth operator. I think his ceiling could be a Michael Thomas type guy, but he's not playing with Drew Brees and all of these guys.
That's actually correct. Who do you have higher, Michael Thomas or Cortland Sutton? Coming out.
Oh, Michael Thomas. Yeah. Michael Thomas. Yeah.
Speaking of the receiver position, you guys mentioned you're looking for that cornerback opposite Patrick Peterson. You got to have someone to protect the quarterback. That's been an issue of keeping the quarterback upright. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals thought the receiving group, that receiving room, was supposed to be a position of strength, but it turns out it's not. You know what I mean? John Brown has consistently been injured. Mm-hmm. J.J. Nelson doesn't have a whole lot in his game. I like him; he's a nice piece, but he's more of a he's a piece. He's a deep threat. To your point, Larry Fitzgerald's getting longer in the tooth. He's been long in the tooth. You know what I mean? This could very well be his last year. So, if Cortland Sutton, I know there's some disagreement in terms of where to rank Cortland Sutton in the pantheon of receivers, but certainly if he's the top receiver on the board, you can make a case for it. You can make a case for it. This team seems to be rebuilding, as far as I'm concerned. They seem to be in a rebuild.
Here's my thing, though. Where are you putting him in? Where's he fitting in terms of that offense?
Well, the offense.
Larry's not gone yet.
Well, the offense.
Larry's not gone yet.
The offense. The new head coach Steve Wilkes is a defensive guy, so the offense may not necessarily be the same. It may not be big slot guy. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Arians, is a vertical threat, and then you're getting David Johnson back. They got to score points. The Rams are getting better.
They got a plan?
I don't know. We'd have to ask Big Hero C. Hopefully we get him on.
He has some more picks, so maybe later on he addressed the offensive line, another defensive back.
Right now,
see their draft board.
Right now we're at pick 15, and this is the biggest reach of them all.
All right. The Baltimore Ravens are now on the clock, and this is at Casey Gregory has taken over for Ozzie Newsome. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it throughout the off season. The Baltimore Ravens have to get better offensively. They typically nail day 2, day 3 defensive selections, but they have struggled to put pieces around Joe Flacco. I'm not the biggest of Joe Flacco fans, to be perfectly honest, but no quarterback, very few quarterbacks have the ability to raise the level of guys around them. So they need someone to come in and be a game changer, a playmaker on offense. Where do you think the Baltimore Ravens go with the 16th overall pick, Drew?
Receiver, period. Pick one. Because my top 5's still there. Let's
get into that a little bit. Your top 5, Drew, at receiver.
I mean, you got Michael Gallup, the best route runner to me.
Over Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, you have Calvin Ridley, who's a good route runner, a little bit more dynamic, if you will. Like a little opportunity at Alabama, but we'll see what he's worth. DJ Moore, Maryland. who's an excellent receiver who actually may have the highest ceiling at the end of the day or the best career out of all these receivers. James Washington, deep threat. And then Anthony Miller, my guy. Odell Beckham, like.
Wow, that's high praise.
Just pick one, man. Just pick one because you need one. Stop doing all this makeshift stuff and picking guys off the scrap and the Jeremy Macklins of the world. Go get you a bona fide number one receiver. You haven't had it. Who's it? Pyramid?
Reach.
Yeah.
Reach.
Yeah. Come on, man. Let's go get us a bona fide number one receiver, man. Don't Ozzy this, man. You're gonna get fired, man.
Headley, what do you think about your top five?
My favorites, I have Cameron Ridley, one, Christian Kirk, Michael Gallup, DJ Moore, James Washington. And I agree with Drew, take your pick. But let's look at the Baltimore Ravens team. They added John Brown in free agency, and they added Michael Crabtree. So
you see what I'm saying though? You see what they do?
Yeah.
Do you see what they do? That's what I'm talking about. None of those guys are a bona fide number one. Who's the number one receiver right now?
Yeah, but that's why they're going to draft one right here.
You think so?
They have to, man.
I
think it's either Cameron Ridley or Michael Gallup. I think you need a speed guy on the outside. John Brown is battling with injuries. Michael Crabtree's more of a possession guy. So get you number one guy on the outside that can do it all, man.
Okay, the pitch is coming together.
All right, we shall see in just a second here. The pick is in. And at Casey Gregory and the Baltimore Ravens select Dallas Goedert, South Dakota State, tight end. Another tight end in Baltimore. What are your thoughts on this one, Drew? I see you shaking your head. You're not pleased with this pick. The last two picks. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about Goedert as a prospect? And then let's get into your analysis in terms of the fit in Baltimore.
I mean, he's coming from a small school with a South Dakota State. And I always say, if you're coming from a small school, D2, D3, did you dominate? Sure. From everything I've seen, he dominated, man. He's strong at the point of attack. He gets downfield. It was a lot of scheme things. They schemed him open and things like that, man. But when he was open, he caught the football, man. He made things happen, man. He was a big part of that offense, or best player on the field, period. But I guess he's playing. I guess he's their number one receiver, man. At the end of the day, man.
I don't think it's a bad pick, man.
No. It's a bad pick because of what's on the board.
I get what you're saying, but Dallas Goedert, he's your tight end one, correct? To me, he's Zach Ertz-like. When I watched him, even to his number, he does a lot of the same things Zach Ertz does. He could be a receiving threat for these guys. I said they added Crabtree, they added John Brown. Maybe they're fine with that. Maybe they get a receiver later. But Dallas Goedert, your number one tight end, I don't think it's a bad pick at all. Ben Watson's not there anymore. Who's the other guy that kept getting hurt?
Max Williams, Crockett Gilmore.
No, Max Williams. Who's the other guy?
Pitta.
Yeah, Dennis Pitta. He might not play again. So go get your tight end.
I went to Top Heat.
Go get your tight end number one. Your number one tight end on your board, and maybe get a receiver later. DJ Moore could be there.
I need to see Casey. Hey Gregory. I need to see your draft board, man, because I don't believe this. I don't. So you telling me Goedert right now? Was it need over talent?
Yeah, it's what it looks like to me.
I don't understand
because the receivers are more talented than Goedert. I agree.
The top 8, top 9 are better than more talented, more potential than Goedert.
And they could come in right now. I think Dallas Goedert. The tight end position is hard to transition.
Tough, very tough transition.
So one of these receivers like a Headley, a Gallup, they could have came in right now and been dominant for you guys. So,
all right, moving right along, trucking right along. The Los Angeles Chargers are now on the clock, and we have Jake Shavinik at JShavinik13 is the GM. The Chargers, we thought that they might have been a dark horse last year. They continue to be hit by the injury bug. Honestly, I've always been a huge Phillip Rivers fan, but his play has been on a decline over the last couple of seasons. Could this be the time? Could this be the time where they go and get the heir apparent to Phillip Rivers, Drew?
Mason Rudolph, man, I had him in my first. He was in our 11 through 20.
Way too early.
Way too early. Mock draft. Juice did 1 through 10. I did 11 through 20. Headley did 21 through 32. I had these guys taking Mason Rudolph. So it wouldn't surprise me, man. You at some point you got to replace the guy.
Sure.
Get your guy.
Sure.
You know, and obviously they're in position to do it. Is it a reach? Maybe, but if it's a quarterback and it's your guy and that's the guy you want, you go and get him, right? You know, but we'll see. I mean, and this would be a case in a scenario where he would sit. He wouldn't have to you wouldn't have to throw him to the Wolves.
That's
you know,
true.
it may be a great scenario for whatever quarterback they do go out and grab if they go grab a quarterback.
Headley, what do you think? 2 Big 12 quarterbacks in the first round?
Nah, man. Negative. Mason Rudolph's not a first round talent, guys. Please don't reach for a quarterback. The Chargers.
Hey. Teams reach for quarterbacks every year, B.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Rico. Yeah, man. Teams reach for quarterback every year, but at the same time, I think you have other needs on this team. I think in D tackle or linebacker. You weren't really good against the run last year. I know Denzel Perryman came in. He was hurt in the beginning of the year, and he kind of shored things up a little bit, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy, in his career. So I'm looking at a guy named Vita VA right here, a Leighton Vander Esch right here, somebody in the middle of the field that could shore up that defensive run game. Deron Payne. Yeah. It's some guys right here, man.
All right. Well, the pick is in, and it will be the first of many Alabama prospects. Defensive back Minkah Fitzpatrick. And obviously the big debate is he a corner? Is he a safety? Is he limited to the nickel? Drew, what are your thoughts on this player? Can he do it all, or is he more of a safety slot guy?
Safety slot guy, man. I don't know if he can play corner. It wouldn't surprise me if he could. You know, everybody want a Jalen Ramsey,
sure,
a guy who played both. You know, and you're able to move him in and play corner, and he dominated. They do have a good front seven when you're talking about the pass rush end of it.
Ingram, Bosa, definitely.
But I mean, he's a moving piece, man. You know, and it was a 3-4 defense, correct? So 4-3. So that doesn't matter. He's a moving piece. You can put him anywhere. I just don't know if corner is that one position that he can actually play in and play out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it was an excellent pick. He's one of the best players on the board. He's a top 10 talent. So to get him at 17, right? To get him at 17 is an incredible value.
Yeah.
And it is a need. The Chargers also needed a safety. Excellent job.
If I'm not mistaken, you had Chargers selected Lee Hooker last year, and then this time around they get
a safety that can come up, play in the slot. They already have a lot of great cover guys in Casey Hayward, Jason Verrett, Desmond King, Trevor Williams. So they have a lot of corners that could cover. So to add a safety that could come down and cover in the slot, you can't go wrong with that, man. He's an alpha dog. He's a leader on the football team. He's an intelligent player, instinct. So, excellent player right here.
Why do you think Minkah slid to 17? Was it the fact that he's not a true corner that ultimately depressed his value a little bit?
Nah, it's because we out here drafting Cortland Sutton.
All right. Along, the Seattle Seahawks are on the clock, and now let's talk about Seattle a little bit. What do we? I don't even know if I need your analysis.
It's obvious,
on this, right? I think this really comes down to the offensive line. You got to do a better job of protecting your franchise. This is clearly Russell Wilson's team. There's no Richard Sherman anymore. Michael Bennett is out the door. It's time to. Jimmy Graham is now in Green Bay. It's time to address the offensive line, protect the franchise. Any rebuttals to that?
No. It's only one offensive line off the board so far as Quentin Nelson. So you have your pick.
Pick of the litter. And well, they may select an offensive lineman here in the first round, but it's not going to be at pick 18 because they have traded with the Los Angeles Rams. They now move into the 18th slot, and the Seahawks received the Rams' 23rd overall pick and their third round pick, 87th overall. What do you think the Rams are thinking here, moving up? Are they pushing all their chips in the middle of the table here?
When you talk about the Rams, I don't know what's going on, man. Because they've made so many moves this offseason, man. It's kind of ridiculous, man. They got money for everybody, man. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, man. Oprah's in the building and she's running the organization, man. And they're great moves, man. They're great moves, and Headley, I know you feel it. It's this 1 year thing, man. They going in, they all in, man. They're not dipping their toe in. They ain't checking the temperature. Nah, man, we jumping straight into the deep end. We in, man. We all in. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, right? So hey, I mean, who knows, man? I couldn't tell you what's gonna happen right here. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm kind of perplexed myself, man.
Wow.
I do know they need a linebacker. That might be one of their biggest needs. So you have that front four. You have Sue and Donald and everybody like that. So these linebackers are going to be running around free, making a lot of plays. So, Leighton Vander Esch, Rashawn Evans. Rashawn Evans is another guy. So I think that's where they're going here.
And the pick is in. The Los Angeles Rams select Rashawn Evans, linebacker out of Alabama. Now we have 2 back-to-back Crimson Tide players. Headley, give me your analysis on Rashawn Evans. Is he worthy of a top 20 pick?
Yeah, I think 4 linebackers is worthy of a top 20 pick.
Okay.
And he's one of those guys. This guy flies around. He's a physical football player. He's only 236, I believe, but he plays physical. He can rush the passer on passing downs. So he gives you that kind of versatility, man. And he's an Alabama product. Alabama products are hard-nosed, physical players, man. And he played like the Reggie Ragland position, but he can play on third downs. He's a lot faster than Reggie Ragland. He flies around more than Reggie Ragland. So I'm not mad at this pick right here. We said it before they picked. They need a linebacker, and he's a guy that's going to be able to fly around in his defense.
For reaction for our latest selection, we go to Quagmire.
I like where this is going. Giggity, giggity, giggity.
Drew, do you think Rashawn Evans can play all 3 downs?
I don't know.
Pass coverage, in particular.
I don't know. When you talk about this guy, man, for me, he has trouble in man coverage, man. He gets caught flat-footed, and he starts to grab and pull, and it's not a good thing. In space, he's smooth and fluid, because he's a smaller guy, but I don't know, man. I feel like he's home coming off the edge blitzing, man. Don't send him inside because he's gonna get lost or get
engulfed.
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, he's gonna get Jalen Smith. But yeah, I don't know, man. But he's got some instincts. But 3-down linebacker, we're gonna have to see, man.
Okay. All right. We're at pick number 19, and the Dallas Cowboys are on the clock.
The boys.
At Fantasy Football Connect. That is FNTSY. FB Connect is on the clock. Dallas.
Well, I mean, Jerry's gone.
Yeah, that's a start.
Yeah,
that's a start. What do you think the Cowboys are doing here, Drew? What would you do?
I'm taking. This is one of those where need meets my draft board. So we can talk about Vita Vea. We can talk about Calvin Ridley. We can talk about Michael Gallup. It just depends on where the draft board is. For me, if I'm Dallas, because they need help in. I guess all the linebackers are gone. We could not go on corner either. Yeah, man, it's defensive line or it's receiver for me.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Heather?
I think it's might be this best defensive player on the draft board. They definitely need help in the trenches, defensive line. They can add another linebacker. They can add a corner. They can add anything on defense, really. So, like you said, Vita Vea, Darren Payne is here. Mm-hmm. Take your pick of corners, Jair Alexander.
Is there a pass rusher? DeMarcus Lawrence obviously had a big season, but is there another guy that teams are really going to have to respect? You're anticipating maybe Taco Charlton, takes a step in year 2, but do you go inside necessarily, or are you looking for a guy that you think can get you double-digit sacks here?
I was thinking more inside.
Okay.
I still have hope for Taco Charlton.
Yep.
He was, I think, my 3rd pass rusher last year. So give him another year and see him develop some more. But if you want to get a pass rusher here, Arden Key, Sam Hubbard, those are guys that's still on the board.
That might be a little bit of a reach. You got Arden Key with the red flags, and you got Sam Hubbard who is a high motor guy. People don't like to hear that, but that's exactly what he is, a high motor guy. I think that's a guy they might be able to maybe trade up into the 2nd round, more mid top to grab him.
Marcus Davenport was on the board.
No, not
Yeah,
that.
Marcus. Yeah,
Not you can say Marcus Davenport, but that's a raw prospect. He needs some polish.
So Payne and VA.
Payne and VA, and listen, both of those guys are bullies. And VA, man, he's a line destroyer. There is no line of scrimmage with that guy, and he can play anywhere on the line of scrimmage. You got an injury, he'll replace that guy. Doesn't matter. He's been double team, triple team, quadruple team, and he's causing hell all over the place.
Wow. All right. Well, the pick is in. And it looks like the Dallas Cowboys have their replacement to Des Bryant. They select Calvin Ridley,
Wow.
receiver out of Alabama.
Wow.
I know, Headley, you had Ridley as your #1 receiver in this class. What do you think about the fit here?
I like the fit. He's a guy that can get open quickly. I think Dak Prescott needs a receiver that can get open quickly. He can make plays after the catch. You know, Dallas Cowboys, they don't have a guy that can take it to the house any given place on the football field.
Sure.
So Calvin Ridley is a guy. You throw him a slant, he can take it to the house. So I do like the fit of Calvin Ridley. I would have went defensive side of the football, maybe get a receiver later on. But you know, Fantasy Football Connect, they decided for Calvin Ridley. Thank you.
I'm not mad at the pick, man. You know, obviously for me, I probably go Vita Vea because he's the highest on the board at this point for me. But I'm not mad at the pick, man. Listen, you gotta Dak. He needs a bigger window than what Dez has been given him at the end of the day. And Calvin Ridley can do that because he can run routes like the best of them. So I mean, I'm okay with the pick. It's a good pick, man. Good pick.
The 20th overall pick, the Lions are now on the clock. Gentlemen, they got to get some more help from Matthew Stafford on either side of the ball. I feel like Stafford is one of the few quarterbacks that can actually raise the level of play of the team around him. They've struggled to get stops since Ndamukong Suh has moved on. What do you think the Lions do with the 20th overall pick, Headley?
They could go find a Ziggy replacement. I think a guy like Marcus Davenport would be a great pick here. You know, they kind of are similar guys when they were raw prospects coming in here, and Ziggy kind of show them the ropes and, you know, train your replacement. It happens all the time. You train the guy that's going to eventually replace you. So, you know, I can see that happening. Running back is a possibility here, but I wouldn't draft any of these other running backs at this pick. Yeah, those are the two options I see.
What do the Lions got to do here, Drew?
Running back. Them boys have, when you talk about not having a running game, the Lions are the definition of that for pass.
Is it the ball carrier or is it the offensive line?
It's everything.
Okay.
It did sound like Garrett Blunt.
It's the style. I mean, they're going to the Super Bowl. No,
No, it doesn't mean that they're going
to the Super Bowl. No, man, I just feel like it's everything. It's the scheme that they run. It's the offensive line. And everything is put on the shoulders of Matthew Stafford. There's very few quarterbacks in the league who, you know, have to carry their football team.
Sure.
Is that guy, and Stafford's that. A lot of people don't know that though. Stafford's doing everything. He's at the line. He's and this and that, and he's making changes. He's calling X's. He's calling O's. He's calling Z's. He's calling Y's. He's doing everything, man. So you know, can we take a little pressure? Can he hand it off to the guy behind him? Is there a guy he can trust that he can hand the ball off to?
So with Saquon Barkley off the board, Darius Geis off the board, who among the remaining backs do you think is worth a first round pick?
I mean, you got Nick Chubb, you got Sonny Michel, you got Royce Freeman, who I think would be great here.
Is the value here though?
I'm saying you can get these guys second round. You know what would be a good pick right here? Isaiah Wynn. You put him right there to help Matthew Stafford.
Help the running game.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, and the value's there. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Oh, there's a trade. The Lions has traded back with the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns acquired the 20th overall pick. The Lions received the 33rd and 36th overall pick, so they get 2 second-round picks at the top of the second round.
Okay.
And Cleveland moves up to 20.
So the Browns have Barkley in tow. They have their quarterback in Josh Allen. What could they possibly be doing, trading back into the first round?
My guess would be they need secondary help, right? That's my guess. You know, I've said it again. Mike Hughes, Jari Alexander, Joshua Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a plethora of guys they can go and get, and you know, this it just makes sense. 2 + 2 is 4, not 5.
It's true. This is arithmetic.
Yeah, easy math.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree, man. It's their biggest needs coming into this draft is quarterback, running back, and corner. So they got their quarterback, they got their running back. I think cornerback is the best pick right here. I would go Jair Alexander or Josh Jackson right here.
All right. Well, the pick is in, and you're right. They're going cornerback. It's going to be Joshua Jackson out of Iowa. I believe he led the NCAA or FBS in interceptions. Certainly the Browns could use a guy who can flip the field for them, create additional possessions. What do you think about that selection, Drew?
I mean, he's a cover 3 scheme corner. He's his own corner. He's got excellent ball skills, fluidity in his hips, turn and look at the ball. The moment of truth is no issue for this guy, man. The only issue I have, is, where you at in the run game, player. Well, stick your head in there, man. Make somebody miss, make somebody go left, make somebody go right, make somebody do something, man. You got to be in the screen so I can see you make a play, son. But
are you accusing him of making business decisions?
I don't know, man. I don't want to put that out there. That's not for me to say.
Sure.
I'm gonna leave that for the other analysts to do that, man. But I need you to be there, son, because you're not there. But in terms of when the ball's in the air, or when the ball's gonna be in the air, he's a hell of a player, man.
Passing lead. Headley, Drew alluded to the fact that he's a cover 3 guy. Do you think he's a scheme specific player?
Yeah, I think initially he is out the gates. He's a cover 3 guy. Ball skills on 1,000. And Cleveland, I like this pick because Cleveland needs someone that could turn the football over.
Definitely.
You got Myles Garrett and those guys getting after the quarterback. So you have a guy that can capitalize off of a quarterback mistake in Joshua Jackson. Then, yeah, this guy not only led the FBS interceptions, but he was pass deflections also. So he gets his hands on the football. So definitely a good pick here.
And he's come from Iowa, and we also had Desmond King come from there too. So listen, I don't ever want to blame a guy for only being a zone corner or man corner. We had Tre'Davious White, who one of the questions were, can he press? Yeah, he can press. He had a hell of a good season, right? Yeah. So sometimes it's what the coach asks you to do. I'm doing what the coach asked me to do.
Sure.
We'll find out later if I can do anything or everything else, so that's just one of those things, keep that in mind.
Kirk Ferentz tends to coach his players very well. They tend to be heady players. So I do anticipate Josh Jackson being able to translate to the NFL level, even though he may be asked to do something a little out of his comfort zone in terms of keeping his eyes on the quarterback.